S&P coach Travis Janssen, the Govs, got a couple first place votes, picked fourth in the preseason poll. Coach, just some general thoughts and comments and outlook for this upcoming 2022 season.
Well, I'm sure, like everybody's indicated, we're very excited about getting going, and it's time of the year where you can start to see new competition coming, and so people are very excited. And one thing I think that's exciting about this team is last year at conference tournament time, because the players have so many options right now because of the COVID season, we thought we had 3 or 4 guys that were probably on their way out the door, and they decided to come back, and they were smelling that we were on the verge of doing something special. And we've got 3 or 4 returners coming back that we weren't real sure we were going to have, and older players that have a lot of experience. And it's not quite the same as getting somebody back that got drafted, but it feels very similar. I mean, there were older guys that have logged a lot of innings and a lot of at-bats, and they decided to come back. So I think that's an additional source of excitement. Is I think we're a little bit older. We returned some pitching, we returned some position players, and that's one thing that makes me happy is we had guys that could have moved on, and they chose to come back and try to see this thing through. So that's exciting.
Not that it's going to change, but like this moment in time with the extra COVID year before and now the portal, and that's a different subject, but how do you sort of put that roster into shape when you might fill it out and then you have somebody want to come back? Is that hard to kind of balance the people who may leave and who may come back?
We have a recruiting meeting at 11:15 if you want to just keep this recording, and we can show you how we go about it. But it's difficult. I mean, because guys have years of eligibility left, but yet they're completed with their degree. And so it's like, do I go start and, put baseball down and get my life going? Or do I exhaust my eligibility and come back and keep playing? And then with the transfer portal, do I graduate from a certain school and then want to go play someplace else for a year? And so there's just so many options, and it does make the roster very fluid. And the way we tackle it is we try to have conversations. We try to encourage honesty both ways, and just understand that every situation is different. So it's definitely a different time, and we just try to manage it through really good communication. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
What would you say, if you had to pick one thing, the strength of this year's Governors team is?
I would probably say experienced pitching coming back. I'm not sure what the number of innings, the percentage is coming back, but it has to be in that 75 to 80% range of total innings coming back. We lost a really valuable reliever, Tucker Weaver, from the kid from the West Coast that we just absolutely love, and he's doing great things on the West Coast now. But he was a key cog, and really other than that, he was what we lost from a pitching standpoint, and so to answer it efficiently, returning pitching is something that we're excited about.
And Drew is one of those people. He got voted to the preseason All OVC team. He made 16 appearances, 9 starts, 6 innings, though. What is specifically about him, did you like last season?
Well, the first thought when you ask that is he stepped up late. He won some games down the stretch for us where they mattered, including in the OVC tournament. And he had a part of his personality that he wasn't afraid of the moment. And, he stepped up. It's such a cliche sports thing to say, but he had some really big wins for us down the stretch, and I'm proud of him for that. But just with McElwain, to me, he's interchangeable with 3 or 4 others that are right there that have had those type of innings. And so Drew did receive the preseason honor, but there's 3 or 4 other guys, in my opinion, that are kind of nipping at his heels. There's some competition down there.
That's a good problem to have, I would think. Then Van will ask a couple officially here on the record. So go ahead, Van.
Coach, let's talk about up the middle. You got Jack Alexander behind the plate. Talk about what you're looking at short, at second, and also out at center to replace Garrett Spain.
Great question. So starting behind the plate, Jack Alexander, every coach on this call would want to coach him if they had the ability. He stands for the right things. He's a solid player, but more than that, he's a solid person. He's hungry. He's motivated. He's our hardest worker. I hesitated there, but he is our hardest worker. And so anytime when you have one of your best players as your hardest worker, that starts the fabric of the work ethic in the locker room. So I appreciate that. At shortstop, we have John Bolton right now. He returns from last year. We hope there's a little bit more production with the bat, but we think he can make the routine play as well as anybody. So that's good. At second base right now, what we're looking at is a newcomer named Jonah Beeman. Jonah Beeman's a guy that was a junior college transfer. And while we're going to miss Malcolm and Malcolm's experience, Jonah has done a nice job stepping in and filling that hole right now. So right now, Bolton's at short, Beeman's at second. And then at center field, right now we're going back and forth with Skylar Luna and TJ Foreman. Both those guys will be everyday players. We're just trying to situate it. You would think we would know at this point. We're trying to figure out what the combination is of who's in center and who's in right. So that's what we're looking at up the middle right now.
Coach, you talked about Jack Alexander, and so clearly he's going to be one of your leaders. But when you look at this team for leadership, who do you look to?
We have a leadership team. Our older guys, and that's another reason I'm excited. Our older guys are so dang solid, stand for the right things, and they help coach the team. They help coach the team. They help lead the team. But it's a group that includes Jack Alexander, TJ Foreman, Matt Joslin, Harley Gollert, Austin Carter. I'm going to leave somebody out, but there's 6 or 7 guys that they run the ship, and it's an environment that we've tried to create and encourage, but they help run the ship, and man, it's a lot of fun. They hold people accountable, and so between Jack, Gino Avros, gosh, I don't know if I said him or not, but he is as valuable as anybody we have on our team. But between Alexander, Avros, Harley Gollert, Foreman, McDonald, Matt Joslin, Austin Carter, there is a leadership core that's pretty special.
Who comes to mind when you think about a young player that you've had for the past few years that now has really grown significantly in multiple roles? Who comes to your mind in terms of having really great growth since you've been there?
Well, I would have to say Gino Avros, because Gino was thrown in the fire as a freshman, and he's the classic overachiever, the guy that's just a winner, the guy that makes winning plays when it counts. And he's had a lot of at-bats, and we've seen him at third base a lot the last 2-3 years. And if our team is right, he may not play much third this year, and it may be left field, it may be behind the plate. And I'm not sure where he fell in the first or the utility role for the all conference, but I believe in that kid enough that I'll bet by the end of the year he's in consideration for first team utility guy. Team first, zero ego, play me where I need to play, and we'll figure out a way to win.
Yeah, and I fully concur. It's been a pleasure to watch this young man from Rossview High School grow as a ball player, really, and as a person. Last question. If you had to describe this team to somebody that may not know about it, how would you describe this team? Long ball, power, speed, running, strong field. How would you describe your team?
Well, I think I would defer back to that pitching comment is we have some depth on the mound. Offensively, I'm not sure, I guess where it goes immediately is Parker Phillips, what he did a couple of years ago. We don't have that guy. And in reality, you don't get that guy very often. And Parker's doing great things for our athletic department right now. But so you don't get that type of home run presence very often. But we have the ability to hit balls in the gap. Depending how we line up, I think we're going to be able to run. So I think we're fairly athletic from an offensive standpoint. But I hope maybe just versatile. How about that? If it plays out right and people play up to the way they can, I think we'll be a pretty versatile team.
That sounds good, Coach. I appreciate the answer, and I'm looking forward to getting back to Clarksville and getting this thing underway this year.
Some people can't vacation all the time, man. Just come back when you can.
Got it, Coach. Thanks.
Coach, let's end with this. A little bit about your schedule, and you're going to open up with Boston College, but some really good teams and series before you get an OVC play to challenge your guys.
Well, I think it kind of started last year because with COVID and all the other challenges, and then you open up on the road constantly. We were in a hole last year. I want to say 12 out of our first 14 games were on the road last year, and one of the home games was a team that went to Omaha. So, well, our schedule was tough last year, and it was on the road a bunch. So this year, we open up we play a lot of home games. We hope that benefits us. We hope the Tennessee weather cooperates. We open up with Boston College, ACC team. That'll be a great challenge to open the year with. And then Bowling Green State comes in, and then Kent State comes in. And so, I mean, there's 3 or 4 home series there in a row. And we hope we can have some luck at home early on. So it's going to be a tough schedule. I enjoy playing a tough schedule, and it'll be challenging. Hopefully it prepares us for the end of the year.
Well, Coach, appreciate your time very much this morning, and best of luck to the Govs as you open the 2022 season.
Kyle, thank you so much for doing this.